Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Give me the Star Wars, don't let them end.
We're going to spoil Mandalorian here. Spoilers to our spoilers. I loved it. There was a dip in the middle where I wasn't quite sure. I was still enjoying it, but after watching the entire season, it was wonderful. It was exactly what I wanted.
Started strong, ended strong.
Yes. And real quick side note, by the way, if you haven't seen the behind the scenes of how they did the digital effects for Mandalorian, go check that out. I forgot to cue that up here because instead of doing green screen, they have a giant high-def LED screen that they act around. So instead of the backgrounds being added afterwards, they're added during, or in some cases foregrounds, and you can see the reflection on his helmet is a reflection of the LED. So they could explore and see what was around them. So I think that's the reason they were able to kick it out. They just finished filming season 2, by the way, and season 2 is coming out in November. I think that's one of the ways they're able to do this, and they're doing it with the Unreal Engine, by the way.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
What are they doing? They're doing the backgrounds with Unreal.
The backgrounds, yeah. So the backgrounds, everything's been done because essentially, if you when they shift the camera, it registers the difference in viewpoint of how it would be if you actually moved in that environment. So just like in a video game, if you move, the background and everything around you moves. It's using that same type of technology synced to the camera. It's pretty amazing. I think it's funny. We've done it in a very high tech way, but we're back to where we were with King Kong, with the screens behind people.
Yeah, and honestly, it looked pretty great in terms of how they did the first season. I couldn't have, I'm not an expert anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to necessarily tell you what was fake or real. Like, there's obvious times where it's like a good backdrop, but some of the set pieces throughout this show are so good. The only thing that I had, or not that I had lots of issues with this show. There's lots of things I love about the show, but the thing, can we get a non-desert planet that is like the main, like, I get it, Tatooine, we got Jakku, like, and then we get yet another desert. Now they do leave, which is great.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that it started and ended back with this desert planet action, and that was kind of just like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I was okay on, and by the way, I got the notes over here so we can reference it. Was that episode 5 when they go back to episode 5 they go back to Tatooine, or they go to Tatooine, which we had not been at. But in the end of episode 1, episode 2, so much play in the desert worlds. Star Wars is filled with an infinite amount of environments, so we can have more jungles. We can have I don't mind if it's all interior shots. I really don't mind something more like Bespin. Give me some more Coruscant. There was a lot of places, or give me new places that I had no idea existed. I will agree with that. Man,
some more Coruscant, dude. We don't know what's going on in Coruscant. I don't know if you read the leaked script for 9, that the thing that could have happened. Did you come across that, by the way?
No, I didn't. No.
We'll talk more about that when we talk about 9 like next week or something, but look it up. It's very fascinating, but one of the things that was most fascinating to me was that there's a chance that if it had gone the other direction, that this other guy wrote, that Coruscant would have been involved. We haven't been back to Coruscant since episode 3.
Yep.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, not counting the special edition where we see the statue topple.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I blocked that on my memory. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the special edition in 10 years. Let's go back. Let's see what's going on. What's the busy city planet doing? Anyways, back to
no, I'll agree. We started strong. We had by the way, cameos after cameos after cameos here. In the first episode, Brian Posehn was a cameo for the speeder driver. He's a comedian, but the first 2 episodes, I'm really glad they bundled these together, because the waiting too long for this would have been crazy. We got to see the first episode, seeing who the Mandalorian is, or kind of his what he does. We don't really know fully who he is, but getting him the bounty that ends up being the child in the ending of the episode. I think it was a great way to start off the season, and the second episode, I think, kind of filled it out to say, okay, now we know he has more of a heart, and he's, it's not just it should have been just a job for him, but we know it's going to be more than a job, seeing what he does for the little guy in episode 2.
First of all, IG-11, even though everybody at first thought it was going to be IG-88, which would have been an awesome thing, but I'm pretty sure IG-88 is dead. Mm-hmm. But it's not to say that like his positronic matrix or whatever they call it, is that Star Trek that I'm saying? Yeah, could have been. I think that's Data. Not to say that IG-88's thing couldn't have been recovered and put into a new IG unit, but I don't think it works that way for them. But this is IG-11. You see that they work very similarly. IG-11 was
yeah. He was so cool.
So good. That's where I thought that they were really setting like a tone for like, this is gonna be awesome. Not that the show wasn't awesome, but like they bring him in and he's going for the same bounty at first, and just the proposal is acceptable. I can't remember the exact line because now I'm saying the Men in Black line, because that's from Men in Black. But like, those are acceptable terms. Like that whole shootout situation where we were definitely seeing the first of many shootouts, by the way, where we were seeing that Western style Star Wars like that. It made me think of Firefly in a way, just because just wild, crazy stuff was going on in this kind of like dead zoned area.
Wild and crazy stuff, but realistic stuff in a fantasy environment. Realism in a way that a lot of fantasy doesn't show, and I think that's one thing that Star Wars does well when Star Wars is excelling, is you're seeing something that could really happen given this situation. IG-11's repeated attempts to self-destruct were hilarious, and I love that not only did we get to see him return, because when he was gone at the end of this episode, I was happy that Mando shoots him, because you think that the shot is going to be killing the child. I'm happy that it was the shot to IG-11.
You don't think it's going to be killing the child? You didn't even have a second. Like, there was no way that you thought he shot the child.
No, I thought like IG-11 may have shot.
Oh, okay.
Like a shot happens, you're like, what's going on? It's that type of situation. And I was really happy that IG-11 comes back, and I was happy that we got the self-destruct. Like, we got to see that seed come to its fruition, which happens repeatedly in The Mandalorian. You see something set up early on, and then you have a payoff. I jump a little bit further here. There's when you get to see the other Mandalorians, there's a jetpack, and he says, "I got to get me one of those," and he gets one. What? You don't like the worst
line? I hate the line.
Yeah, it was corny, but like
it's the most overused line of all time. Yeah, it's an Independence Day. It's Will Smith. I've got to get me one of these.
Was that Iron Man? Wasn't that what he said about Black Widow? Something like that. I need one. I think he says I need one.
Oh yeah,
when she's sparring. Yeah.
There's just that line.
Yeah,
I did think it was really cool how they put the jetpack in there, though, in terms of like I like the fleshed out thing of this Mandalorian nature, where like everything is part of this code system. Like, you earn pieces of armor, you earn the right to have a jetpack. Like, it's kind of like this level up nature to being a Mandalorian. And was a really cool aspect.
Yeah, and the choosing of the path, and this is I love that this is the way has now become a thing. It's very, very simple, very straightforward, but there's something about that creed and something about the way that they their practices that are very easy to understand, because you have people I have friends of mine who weren't really big fans of Star Wars until Mandalorian, and absolutely loved. I know it's crazy, but like they loved Mandalorian. They loved the environment. They didn't know what Mandalorians were. They just thought it was going to be like Boba Fett or something. And I will say, I will be honest, that those people who are more casual, the child is what hooked them, but they kept watching for the rest of the story. It wasn't just for the child. Yeah. Everyone went nuts for Baby Yoda, and we still are nuts for him. I'm waiting for my Black Series figure who's going to go up here. I'm waiting for I'm probably going to have to get that the interactive one that they're selling. It's like a Furby-like thing. I don't know if you saw that.
It's creepy.
It's creepy, yeah, but I kind of want one. I may get the plush. I will say our dog does have it's not a Baby Yoda. Our dog does have a Yoda dog toy, which is like, I'm not going to buy a Baby Yoda unless there's a Baby Yoda dog toy. There should be a Baby Yoda dog toy, by the way. I would buy.
But then your dog would be like chewing on Baby Yoda. That'd be sad.
It's okay. She carries around her stuffed animals like they're her babies. She doesn't like rip them up. So sometimes
Joe destroys his.
Oh yeah, Junebug does, but Ridley doesn't. And Ridley's the one who's toy driven. June just kind of hangs out with us, and she doesn't really care about toys as much. But Ridley carries around her toys. If they're stuffed animals, they're like her babies. So she has a little Baby Yoda that she brings. It's her baby. It's not Baby Yoda. There's so many, I wouldn't even say deep cuts, but this show proved Favreau's love for Star Wars. You have things like Trandoshans and Jawas showing up. Trandoshans are the lizard-like creature that looked like Bosk the bounty hunter in Empire. For those who aren't crazy Star Wars nerds like us, you got the Jawas actually stripping the ship of parts. That was crazy. It was really cool seeing Jawas doing more than just selling parts. What?
That was nuts to just have him come back to the ship and it's just gone. Like he like goes up and like it's great that in terms of like the helmeted nature where like there is no facial expression that you can see, like you just have to guess what his facial expression is under the mask. Like I think that's a continued added like physical element that's like it's a physical, not physical comedy so much, but it's just a physical element that you have to make up in your own mind of like what did he just like look at his ship and just.
And there's subtle movements. I'll give it to Pedro Pascal for this because there's subtle movements that he does that you get what he's feeling, you get what he's going through. And this is a person a character who is extremely stoic, but he's starting to feel, he's starting to think about things other than himself and other than being a Mandalorian and being the best at what he does. Which the beginning of the first episodes, he's just like, what's my next bounty? What's my next bounty? I need more money. That's all it was.
I need a puck.
All it was. Yeah. I need a puck. I loved the fight in episode 2. You get to see Baby Yoda using some power. I loved that. I loved the payoff that the Jawas just wanted to eat the egg. Like you thought it was something that they worship, but no, it was just like they wanted a treat.
Hey man, eggs are delicious. I get it.
They are. So I thought that was funny. But what did you think when Mandalorian, like when I keep forgetting his name, when he handed over the child?
He's just called Mando. I mean, he has a name, but like his name isn't important.
Yeah, when he handed over the child to the client, I knew that wasn't the end.
No, yeah.
But did you think he had like an ulterior plan? Because he didn't. But what did you think?
No, I think that again he played it really well in terms of acting it and like in terms of like the writing. Like obviously as Star Wars people, and it's just an obvious thing to the TV show. Like he's not going to leave the kid behind. Yeah. It's like it's a baby Yoda. Like we don't know what Yoda's called yet. We still don't to this day don't know Yoda species, so that's why he's called Baby Yoda or just simply called the child. But we know that introducing a figure like that into this universe, like that character is not going away. Nothing's like going to happen to it, even whenever bad stuff is happening to it. But really, you could definitely see where, like, because he has a code problem here. His code says, you know, what to do about bounties. Like, you're not supposed to care. You know, like the bounty's the bounty. That's just the way it is. You take the bounty, you do the bounty.
It's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper.
But he has another code in with him of just children, like, you know, and I think women might be a smaller part of it, but like mainly children, I think, is as we later find out based on his own history, that he's like, well, you know, what do I do? And ultimately we see, you know, what's going to win out. But I think it was done the right way in terms of the writing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because he had to have that self-realization, which he continues to grow throughout the season, and understanding he's reluctant. I mean, he takes, you know, the ending of episode 3, he's taken the child back with the help of the other Mandalorians. He's taken them back. We've from the client, from all of his bodyguards and everything. But when we see him in the next episodes, we see he's the reluctant father figure, which is hilarious. It's wonderfully done, but he knows that it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't know what to do with the kid, which I really liked seeing that, which in hindsight, looking back at this in episode 4 being there's the episode with the farming village and everything, you got to see him growing. You got to see him looking at the other children in the farm, and seeing the child play with the children in the farm, I think was one of the things that kind of solidified where he's like, I have to protect him. I have to do everything that I can to protect him and get him to safety, which is technically his next mission.
I think that was always like his goal was always to get rid of it, but get rid of him safely. Yeah. I do think it's a little strange how naive they made him. Yeah. Thinking that, especially after he sees the kid's power. So the kid lifts up this giant beast that almost is like going to gore you, or, you know, at least do some serious damage to you, and like, you know, helps you in a fight. You think that kid's gonna be safe? I think again, I know it's just the way he was written, but I think it was a little strange to write him that way. Like he again, we see later, he'd been through some stuff.
And after the fight that he had to get him, he thought he was safe hiding out on the planet with Cara Dune, who meet in that episode, by the way. Again, waited a while to get introduced to these main characters, which has a payoff towards the end. But I liked her. Not that I didn't think that I would like her, but I really liked the interaction between the two of them. In there's respect, and also of what the other person does or has done, and I thought that was cool.
You talking about Cara Dune?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was a little worried about her being in the show because she's not much of an actor generally. Yeah, she's I think it's Gina Carano.
Yeah,
she's a former kickboxer, so like she's an actual like fighter, who I think she was in like a Fast and the Furious movie. Like who knows what else? I don't know what else she's been in.
Something like that. Not a lot. Yeah.
And so I was
casted. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a little worried about her being in the show, but she actually does a pretty good job being what she is. She's a former shock trooper, which was cool. I think that was a really cool role to put her in, especially after watching like Clone Wars and stuff, where you see, generally speaking, like, you know, a lot of troopers are guys, but she fought for the rebellion, and she was, you know, a badass one at that. So I thought that was cool. Giving Mando like an equal in terms of experience, and ability was cool. Somebody for him to play off that, like, you know, without even knowing her, I know just based on this small interaction with her, she's as good as I am, give or take, and you know, it's a good teammate to have along. Yeah. That ended up being a really good part of the season.
Yeah. He knew he didn't have that she could pull her own weight in a fight. Immediate respect, which I really liked. And I will say the best part of this episode, though, other than the Yoda drinking broth meme, which I love, was the ATST. Sure. The ATST fight was amazing because we've seen them in the background in Empire, and we've seen them in Return of the Jedi. And in Return of the Jedi, they're walking around, and then the Ewoks just destroy them. We don't get to see how amazing these weapons are, and it just completely wrecks everything. I loved it.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they did a similar way of beating it, where like just like the Ewoks had to go, environmental on them, they did as well, where they had to drag it in. I like the idea of Empire tech just kind of being left all over the outer rim, and just like people, whoever can use it. It wouldn't shock me if there was like a Star Destroyer or something out there that's just being held by some crew of bandits. That would be fun to see, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah And we're kind of rushing through this, so I apologize, but we could talk for hours on these, but
it's just for fun.
Yeah, it's just for fun. Yeah, so the next episode, the ending of this episode is where I got hooked, but this is the episode on Tatooine. He reluctantly lands there after his ship is I almost said injured. His ship takes damage. He has to land on Tatooine, landing in Mos Eisley. Again, him having to, the idea of people are still coming after the child. We got lots of fan service in this episode, though. We got the Mos Eisley Cantina. We got Han Solo's table. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah, because it was like little things, like they were like all over it. And I liked Mando speaking to the Tusken Raiders. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if you knew the actor who is playing Tusken Raider is also deaf. No. So I just thought that was cool. So like they kind of have a sign language, and they picked an actor who is hearing impaired. So I thought that was cool. But anyways, go ahead.
I think the fan service is the only good part of this episode, to be honest with you. Like I thought this episode was not good.
Yeah, the fan service,
probably my least favorite one.
No, I agree. The fan service, but the very end, because and I'll speed through this because it's like he's getting a bounty, and he's helping a rookie. They don't realize that he's not part of the guild anymore. Blah blah blah. There's a double cross, but the sniper who they're trying to take out, someone goes up to her body at the end, and when that happened, people were saying, "Oh, it's Boba Fett! It's Boba Fett!" I don't even remember. Did we ever even see who it was? I don't think we ever got that payoff, did we? Am I forgetting?
I think so.
Yeah. While you double check that, I'll vamp a little bit about this. So, the sniper was played by Ming-Na Wen, which was one of the other good things about the episode. But I will say, yeah, it's a lot of fan service. We're back on Tatooine. We didn't have to be there. What's her face? Amy Sedaris played the tech who is fixing up his ship, which you may know from Strangers with Candy. But other than that, it wasn't a great episode. I felt like it was it was trying to lead into something, and it hooked me at the end, but only because I was trying to figure out who that person could be, and the internet was speculating like crazy. I don't think that we ever got a payoff on that, though, or confirmation. Maybe I'm wrong.
Don't know yet, but fans have a pretty good idea. I don't think we ever did.
Okay, so the rumor around the internet, and I guess it's still the rumor, is that was Boba Fett. I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind seeing. I just don't want it to be the Boba Fett show. I love Mando. I love what he's doing, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Boba Fett versus Mando. Like, that would be crazy.
I don't know. I think Boba Fett's good. Like, honestly, I don't like the term overrated. I think that Boba Fett's entirely overrated. Like, I think that he fails so often, and if you've watched the Clone Wars, like, he fails as a kid so often, and obviously he's a bad guy. He's supposed to fail. It's just a part of like the bad guy lore. But like, he continually stinks. Mm-hmm. Like, his bright shining moment is tracking Han Solo to Bespin, and then after that he is useless, and he just hangs out at Jabba's palace, and like, he gets his jetpack sliced by a lightsaber, and it's over. Like, if you read any of the now non-canon books, we do know that he crawled out of the Sarlacc pit. later. I don't remember how long it is, but like he has to get new Mandalorian armor and stuff. But so I'm not saying that Jon Favreau wouldn't do it. Yeah. It's just I hope that if he does do it, it's a very small thing. I don't really want Boba to be a focus.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with that, and I don't think it will. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be a focus. I think the focus will be on Moff Gideon, who we'll get to here. The next episode is another one of those ones that it just felt like the episode of the week. It was the monster of the week. It was the random episode in Star Trek that has nothing to do with the main plot, but we keep going to these random planets. It was cool to see a team up. It was a team up of very Guardians of the Galaxy, a bunch of misfits together, doing a prison break. But I mean, I don't know how you felt about it. Like it was actiony, but
a lot of people love this episode, and this is just where like I don't. I'm not trying to be a contrarian when I say that I didn't care for it. The action was cool.
Yes.
There was a very cool like 5 minutes of that episode where after they've already turned on him and he's hunting them, that was super dope. Like just everything about that, the darkness flashing on, like the silently like taking people, like, and these are all trained killers, so like they kind of know what's coming, but at the same time he's still winning. That was awesome. That part of the episode was cool. The rest of it though, I'm just like, why is this happening? Like, why? This is a 8-episode season, and I'm perfectly fine with it being 7 episodes to not have this episode.
Yeah, I was literally yelling, "Get on with it!" like Monty Python style in some of these episodes where I'm like, I want to know what's happening with the main plot, and we had to wait until the next episode. We're on to episode 7 now, where we see things coming together. We get Grief Karga, who I had to look up his name because it's Carl Weathers. Every time I see him, it's Carl Weathers. So we get him, and he's saying, "Look, I'm turning on the client. We're gonna take him out, whatever." And we finally get the team up that we've been waiting for, because there are moments leading up to this where he extends, or you think that, for instance, Kara is going to join his team, and she doesn't. You think that I forgot the guy's name. I didn't write it down here, but the guy who helped Mando in episode 1 riding the beasts, and then he reprograms IG-11. It was played by Nick Nolte.
Kujal or Cool?
Something like that. So, like, you're like, oh, he's going to be part of the crew. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, she's going to be part of the crew. Oh, no, she's not. And then now we actually get all those people that you wanted to be part of the crew, or at least most of the people you wanted to be part of the crew, are all together.
Part of the crew.
It was so cool. So cool.
Yeah, it was definitely like a thing where, all these people who like really want to work alone, they end up not working alone, and like that was cool. That was a cool part of it, that everybody's cool with like trying to save this kid because they know. I do think it's interesting that everybody would just kind of be like, yeah, okay, like fine.
Yeah.
Like, what do I have better to do? But at the same time, I can't see that in like a Western setting.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, well, I'm not doing anything else. It's Tuesday. What do I don't have anything scheduled today. So, sure, I'll come help save this kid.
I think it worked in different ways. Like people had their own reasons to do it, other than just it's the child. We find out that and the child ends up getting captured at the end of the episode because they're essentially Moff Gideon created a trap. Which, by the way, I love that actor's name. I forgot it. I love the actor. I forgot his name. He's Gus in Breaking Bad.
He's got his Esposito.
Esposito is the last name. Yeah.
He's Giancarlo.
Yeah, that's right. So,
he's awesome. He's such a good stoic actor. Like, we're watching I don't know if you watch Better Call Saul. He's really good in Better Call Saul also, because you get to see how the meth lab's being done, and he's a big part of it. But Man, he's so good. He like, it might be a type, but at the same time, when you're really, really good at that type, like, go ahead and be that type, man.
Yeah, just
Like,
go all in on it. Go all in.
Yeah.
But like seeing him, he set up a trap, and he knew the child wasn't with him. Got some stormtroopers to capture. Like it was like this is crazy. This was the classic cliffhanger that had everyone freaking out in a way that normally I joke about, like, it's just a cliffhanger. I'm like, is that it? Like, is that it for the child? Like, are we not going to see him? Because from a writing perspective, I was worried, I still am worried, that the show is the child as opposed to the Mandalorian.
Totally.
So I thought like maybe they're gonna take him out so that way he's not visible. Maybe he's not dead, but he has to retrieve him in the next season. But thankfully we got him back in the episode 8, which is the best opening of any episode, by the way.
Yeah, even though it's definitely like the Mandalorian does like all the acting because the child doesn't talk. The animatronics for the child are great, but good. The show is totally child. Especially it's not a criticism. It's just a thing that's like hard for me because I know we're going to get some origin in season 2, or at least supposedly we're going to get some origin in season 2 of him, and that's what I really want. I want lore, as opposed to him. I don't actually really care about it, other than that he's there for the memes and the lulls, and that's cool.
For Yoda, yeah, I agree. I hope they don't fill out too much.
I do want the lore though. Like, sure. I would love for Mandalorian to figure out where he's from. We like go, if there's any existing of the species, we go meet them. Like, we talk to them. Like, I want all of that to happen. Yeah. Or the child can start talking too. That would be cool. I want him to have more character than just, anyway, that's just me. But the best scene in the entire season, hands down, is that stormtrooper thing at the beginning.
Yes.
Other than him hitting the kid, that was a little sad.
I think he needed to. Like, it was just showing like that disregard for everything. You needed that opposite end where the Mando and crew love and care for the child, and they do not care. All they care about is making sure that the Moff is happy, and that they did their job. That's all they care about. Watching them banter and miss trying to shoot a can was great. I
just the little the shake, like the pistol shake makes it where it's like the guy's like missing. He's like, all right, fine, I'll shoot the can, and then he's like, I can't shoot. There's got to be something wrong with this thing. Like, and just the fact that there's like a rattle to the blast.
It was beautiful. It was brilliant. It was just long enough. Oh, I was so happy about it. And of course, we get the child back, IG-11 coming back, who has been reprogrammed as a nanny droid, but he still has his weaponry, he still has his attacks. Getting to see some more Mando's backstory, and I apologize, we're going to speed through this as well because we had to wrap up, but the action sequences in this episode, getting to see them escape, getting to we're out of danger. No, we're not. We're out of danger. We're in the classic stress of trying to get out of an unwinnable situation. I thought was great, and it had some great callbacks to situations like I mentioned that things that had been set up earlier. Yeah,
I think there's probably like it's hard to skip over some of this stuff. I think it's an episode you have to see just because it is very like actiony. We do get to see Mando's face. His name's Din Djarin, by the way.
Okay.
That was the thing. There's a lot in there. The thing that is honestly the coolest thing for me, is Darksaber.
Yes, yeah, getting to see that.
I don't know what you know about Darksaber.
I know a little bit about it, but getting to see that in person is great. It's showing the love for what is Star Wars lore now. Where the expanded universe is now Legends, and now we're getting to see that love of Clone Wars and Rebels, getting to see that into TV, and I'm absolutely happy. I love it. I do not know a lot about it. I know a little bit about, but I recognized it. I recognized it. Sorry,
I can give you a taste. So the Darksaber, by the way, you could this has roots in Clone Wars and Rebels. I think that there is some expanded universe stuff, but it's in canon now. The Darksaber was the lightsaber of a Mandalorian, like the first Mandalorian leader, and I think that he was a Jedi at one point. But then after that first person, it just became like this sword that, like, you know, a leader of the Mandalorian used, and it was lost for a long time, and then it's found, and it is not ever wielded by any Force users after that first person that we don't really know much about. But so it's basically just a lightsaber that looks sweet, that Mandalorians use as a sword because they're they're not Force users, and it becomes a symbol for them. And so the fact that they're bringing that into a lore about the show called Mandalorian is pretty cool, because
very fitting.
That means potentially in terms of a future and stuff, that means like they could be painting a thing where like Mando becomes the leader of the Mandalorians. Like that's a thing that could happen. Or maybe there is some leader that maybe he doesn't want the responsibility, so he's going to get Darksaber for somebody else. There's a lot of stuff that they could do with it. That's where, like, it's one of those fun things, like whenever you get to Clone Wars, you're going to see it pop up, and whenever you get to Rebels, you're going to see it pop up. It pops up a lot in Rebels. It's cool. What do you think of, like, the Mandalorians just showing up like twice? In terms of like using them.
Yeah.
They used him as a tool, like that, to save the day twice.
I think that was my only problem, was that they were there just to save the day. I want to see more Mandalorians, but at the same time, it is the Mandalorian. It is about our buddy, and getting to see Den do these things, that's what I want to see. I would like to see more of them in a sense where they're not like when you got to see the scene of them making the armor when he gets the Beskar steel, like getting to see him make the armor, getting to see all of that. Like, I really loved that. I absolutely loved that. So I would like to see more of that. I hope that we get to see the blacksmith again. She was awesome. As soon as you were saying, like, you know, maybe there's someone else who's going to become a leader, like I could see him like choosing her and being like, no, you're right for the job. But I didn't like them being used just to save the day, and that's kind of what we got. Yeah.
Things that I want Baby Yoda lore. I want to learn the name of their species really bad. I think Jon Favreau is a cool dude to make that happen. If Disney will allow anybody to do whatever they want at this point. They don't have nearly as much respect for the lore, but I want that. I want Sabine Wren. Who you may not know, but she's the Mandalorian character in Rebels. She is a rebel, and I want Ahsoka Tano. Like, I don't need a lot of Ahsoka Tano because I know it's not a Jedi show. But if she just showed up for like one episode,
I'd like Ahsoka for a lot of reasons. I want to see Jon Favreau subtly fixing or filling in loopholes, or not loopholes, filling in not plot holes, but seeing things that happened after Jedi and getting to see. We didn't get to see Luke. We didn't in what he was doing after Jedi. There's just this gap we heard about, but I'd like to see, even if it's just as a side note, I'd like to see and hear what's happening with the you know. What are they? That's not the Alliance now. What do they call it? The New Republic.
They call it the New Republic for a while.
New Republic, yeah. Like, I want to see more of that. I would like to see Luke there. There's a rumor that we're going to see Luke and Mara Jade in season 2. which, if they do that the right way, would be really beautiful and a really great nod to fans like us who love those characters and want to see. It will validate those characters for us.
I don't know how they can make her fit in this, in what they did with episode 7 through 9. I don't know how they can make Mara Jade fit.
I know.
Unless she's just not the character that she is.
She'd have to be a little different. They'd have to do some kind of, maybe some star-crossed lovers, passing ships kind of thing. But either way, I'd love to see it.
I love Mark Hamill, so I'm okay with him being it. But just like Ahsoka, I don't want it to be for more than like an episode. Like,
sure.
Just even if, or it could just even be a scene. It could be a thing where maybe like just something else is happening, kind of backgroundy, like, because we know that Mandalorian exists on the Outer Rim. Tatooine's in there, the other planet, like they're far away from this stuff. So the Death Star thing happened, and there's a lot of things that they don't care. Like it was clear on Tatooine, they don't. The Hutts rule that world. That's who knows who rules it now that Jabba's dead. I'm sure the rest of the Hutts do, but I don't need a lot, but I want a little.
I want a little too. So let us know in the comments what you want out of Mandalorian Season 2. And let us know, do you want to see more of Mando's face, or were you happy with the little bit that you got in Season 1? What do you think?
No, he's fun.
He's good.
Helmut's good. We don't, unless he's banging somebody or something, like, that's fine.
Come on, Disney. Give us that scene. We'll see you guys later.